Welcome to Fun and Games Side Quests. Every episode is a different host sharing a video game they love and why they love it.
I'm Taylor Hicklen, and currently I'm a community lead and contributing writer over at a little game site called Press Space to Jump. I also do freelance graphic design, branding stuff, editing of various sorts. So if you want to support me after hearing this episode, you can either visit pressspacetoJump.com. That's PressSpaceTojump.com. Or for freelance stuff, go to TaylorHicklen.com. That's TaylorHicklen.com. Anyway, now about Dicey Dungeons, probably my favorite game of all time. Dicey Dungeons is what's called a roguelike that uses a 6-sided die to slot different attacks and all sorts of fun effects. If you don't know what a roguelike is, A, it's a point of contention, and I'm sure I'm not defining this in the correct academic sense. And B, it only kind of matters. Gamers, don't listen to the rest of this. But roughly, what a roguelike means is that it's a game with a short loop-based structure where it's kind of hard, expects you to attempt things multiple times, but over those multiple attempts, you can kind of accumulate knowledge and skills that you use on future runs. With something that's more traditionally level-based, it's kind of you cycle through the levels, you're ostensibly done. What makes roguelike so special is that the shorter loop-based structure means you can play it almost infinitely, and while you're not unlocking things all the time, there are so many permutations of effects and equipment that it does feel like a new game. Some of the discourse around roguelikes is that traditionally they're supposed to be kind of hard, and the way they approach difficulty can vary. What makes Dicey Dungeons feel different in the genre and kind of takes the edge off is that it has a very cute art style. Its sense of humor is wry and pretty funny. Some of the best character writing in the biz. And it's a 6-sided die. Can you read a 6-sided die? Can you count to 6? Most of this is going to be pretty approachable for you. That ease and simplicity and willing to poke fun at itself and lightly rib you makes it feel a little more forgiving than some of its peers. What is Dicey Dungeons available on? Almost everything. If you have a personal computer or a phone or pretty much every video game console, you can get it on there. I have it on no less than 3, maybe 4 platforms. Independent games platform itch.io, very good. Steam, Nintendo Switch, Xbox, and that's 5. I have it in 5 places. What makes Dicey Dungeons special for me is that it kind of unlocked 2 broad concepts. The first is roguelikes, which I kind of defined for you. I know if you're not a games person, that's going to sound kind of loosey-goosey and not make much sense. But once you get into it, I swear things will kind of click. The other thing that Dicey Dungeons really unlocked for me was the early access model. Games that are more iterative or require a lot of time and overhead in development turn to early access. And what that is a way to either in a closed or semi-public environment, test out a game. There are different ways of doing this. The model Dicey Dungeons followed is not the standard early access model from my experience, not as we know it. But I'll go through the others first. What you're going to see most of all on either the Steam marketplace or the Xbox store is an iterative paid model of early access, where you pay for the game knowing that it's an incomplete state. Most of the time, this is a discounted price with the understanding that it'll be updated for as long as the developer finds feasible, and that it gives them a little overhead to kind of flesh the rest of the concept out. There have been free models of early access where it started free and then upon full release it stayed that way, but you kind of got to follow the journey. What Dicey Dungeons used was a free to paid model. I played Dicey Dungeons from the early betas on itch.io. There were placeholder graphics, there were placeholder music, but the idea was there. And the idea was so solid that I sunk, I would say, probably a solid hundo hours into this very primitive early beta. And when I learned that it was going to be fully developed, fully released into a paid thing, I was thrilled. You might be going, why would you pay for a game early? Or why would you beta test a game that's not complete? And Dicey Dungeons kind of showed me why. You can kind of see for yourself that the core of the game is there, has been there for a while. And then following its progress, I don't know, it feels nice. It's kind of joyful on its own. When the full version released, I was more than happy to pay for it. But yeah, that's early access. It's rare that a game just kind of unlocks one new avenue, let alone two, but Dicey Dungeons did that for me pretty much instantaneously. Why it's important, roughly what it was, how does it play? In Dicey Dungeons, you pick one of the contestants of this ill-fated game show run by Lady Luck, who have been transformed into a walking, talking die. Each of these characters have different classes. There's a thief, there's a robot, a warrior. That is all I'll say. There are more that you unlock as you go along, and each of them play wildly differently. I really cannot overstate how Dicey Dungeons jump-started my resurgence into games and kind of in a roundabout way my entry into games media as a whole. At my former workplace, which shall not be named, I kind of got involved with the community about almost 5 years ago, and through that worked my way up to a moderator position on their Discord. And one of the earliest things I did to kind of try and build a community is I would do a bunch of Discord streams. And of course, the only game I could see myself playing iteratively over a long period of time while interacting with the community was Dicey Dungeons. So, streamed that game easily over 100 times during my tenure. Used it as a springboard for multiple community fundraisers. Dicey Dungeons helped me grow as a person, grow my friend network, even grow professionally. It's a solid release. If you grab nothing else from my diatribe, please go buy it. As time of recording, it is the Steam sale. Other sales are soon to follow. It's a solid buy. Let me see my rough play count on my computer, which obviously does not encapsulate every platform I have it on. 140 hours on Edge. That is my rough, base play count is 140. I have easily more than that on Switch, easily more than that on Xbox at this point. So, not that I think time played is equivalent to value in all instances, but in this case, I put in the time. I can confidently tell you that Dicey Dungeons, one of the best in the biz, has brought me so much joy over the 4+ years I've been playing it. So yeah, I'm going to go back to the Dicey Dungeons game I've suspended on my Xbox right now. So I'll leave you with this. Happy gaming!
Hey, Nerf herders.
You sure you want to go with that?
Hey, everyone.
There we go. More inviting.
Have you ever had a movie that you really wanted to love, but something holds you back?
Or one that you did love in spite of a flaw?
Well, I'm Casey.
And I'm Sam Alisea.
And on Another Pass, we sit down with cool guests to look at movies that we find fascinating.
But flawed.
And we try to imagine what could have been done when they were made to give them that little push.
We're not experts. We just believe in criticism.
Constructive criticism.
Sure.
So come take another pass at some movies with us.
And every now and then, we can celebrate movies that did it on their own, too.
You can find us at certainpov.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
Pass it on.
CPOV. CertainPOV.com.